Welcome to Issues and Answers with your host Diane Kinderwater. Issues and Answers is presented as a public service to inform, educate, and better the lives of New Mexicans. And now, Issues and Answers with your host Diane Kinderwater.
Welcome to the program. I'm Diane Kinderwater. Who has the answers? Who has the answers to the problems of poverty, addiction, and trauma in our community? Here in Albuquerque, here in New Mexico. We have Steelbridge Ministries, which actually says they have the solutions to transforming people's lives to break that cycle of poverty, addiction, and trauma. We're going to meet the executive director and the development director of Steelbridge Ministry, formerly Albuquerque Rescue Mission, and find out how is the solution working? What can we expect from them? They've been around since 1954. The next 70 years, what can we expect from Steelbridge Ministry? So I believe they have a message of hope for all of us. So please stay with us as we meet them right after this.
Hey America, now there's a place where we can join our voice. Real America's Voice. Real America's Voice is coming to a town near you with a grassroots approach, bringing the real voice of America together. Real America's Voice is growing our family of networks across the country, and soon you could be part of that change. Download the Real America's Voice app and join other Americans just like you across the country, coming together for real change.
Welcome back to the program. Perhaps you or a family member or a neighbor or someone you know has been affected by poverty, addiction, or some kind of trauma in their lives. We all are touched by this. And oftentimes we don't know what to do, where to turn. But Steelbridge Ministry is here in Albuquerque, formerly the Albuquerque Rescue Mission, and they, in their online information, say they have some solutions to help break that cycle, a cycle that we know it's just overcoming. It seems like it's overcoming our community, but maybe it's been like that for since 1954, but it just seems we're seeing the poverty, we're seeing the people, we're seeing the homeless, we're seeing the street people, and we're certainly hearing about that addiction. So Shane Rabindranath, who is the executive director of Steelbridge Ministries, and Gail Holien, thank you so much for being a part of the program, to share this not only message of hope, but really, Shane, what the heck is going on out there?
So what we noticed is 1954, when the Albuquerque Rescue Mission opened, it opened as a soup kitchen. The need back there was just helping people with a hot meal, somewhere to stay for a night, somewhere to be loved. Over the past 70 years, we noticed that that was more of a Band-Aid, and that we had to get to what was going on inside. Steelbridge has now cultivated a culture of Christ-centered, therapeutical support, trauma-informed care.
Okay, Christ-centered, therapeutic support.
Trauma-informed.
Trauma-informed. The Christ-centered, we know the Bible.
Right.
Prayer.
Correct.
Reading.
Yes.
Literature. The therapeutic is?
So what we've noticed is a lot of people coming off the streets, they need to know what's going on in the inside. So we have therapists on staff. We do life skills groups. We do one-on-one therapy with them. And this allows us to get to the problems on the inside so that we could figure out what those past traumas were.
And the third part?
Trauma-informed care. And what that means is, as a staff, we are trained to go to the level that the person is with their trauma. Instead of just treating everybody the same, every person's different, every trauma, human trafficking victims, domestic violence, drug abuse, homelessness, or just losing your job. Each one has to be dealt with differently. So we have to know how to get to that level with them.
Gail Holien, thank you for that, Shane. Gail,
yes.
Wow.
Yes, it's a lot.
So when I read that you have solutions to end the cycle, Shane just told us the three-pronged approach.
Yes, it is. There are basically, homelessness is a severe problem in our state, in the state of New Mexico. And in New Mexico alone, we're ranked 49th in the nation on poverty. We're the second worst ranked state for child hunger, for child food insecurity. I mean, we've got some serious problems, and that actually impacts our education within our school systems. So it's kind of like a domino effect. Everything touches something else, right? And
we know these numbers are bad. We've heard they're kind of bad in a lot of different things, even though, except for our weather. We love our weather.
Yes.
We love the beauty of the desert.
Red and green chili.
Yeah, there's so many things that we love, but we know our numbers are bad.
Right. And so we're looking for solutions, right? And there are many organizations in the state that are good advocates, and they're doing their very best. Our legislature is doing their best to provide homes, to provide physical needs, but we know that the root of most issues are spiritual need. People need to know God cares about them, and there is a solution. There's hope for them, and that's what we provide through the programs through Steelbridge. But not only that, Diane, I don't think the public knows or they understand how much homelessness costs us as taxpayers.
Tell us about that.
Okay, so we
don't know.
Yeah, so you're looking at about close to 4,000 people in our state that are homeless. And it costs taxpayers in New Mexico about $50,000 a year per homeless person. So that's a lot of money.
I'm doubtful,
That's a lot of, it's because it costs hospitalizations, all your public services.
okay. So now we're about 50,000. Okay.
Yes. So it's
$50,000 taxpayer dollars for.
If you don't believe me, you can go to the New Mexico legislature.gov and look up the most
Medical
recent
care.
report. Medical care, public safety,
Prisons,
food,
jails.
prison, jail, all of that costs us money. It costs a lot of money.
So getting them off the street then.
Saves us money, and it saves people, more importantly.
Oh, that's a good point. Saves the people. Saves the people who need.
But Steelbridge also, our biggest thing isn't just to get them off the street, it's catch them before they hit the street. 40% of our beds are for re-entry. When they're coming out on probation or parole, we work with the state to bring them straight into our program so that they can have a chance for family reunification and community reintegration. And so you want to stop it, you want to be preventative before. So honestly, about maybe 20% of the people who come into our program are homeless. The rest actually come to us from behavioral health facilities, human trafficking victims, domestic violence victims, out of the prisons, out of the jails, a lot of pre-trial, because our whole goal is to catch them before they hit those streets, because if we can catch them there, then you have a higher percentage chance of success.
So actually, do you have contracts with the city and county and the state to actually, when they're leaving prison or
The
jail?
state, yes.
Tell me a little bit about that.
We just started a contract with the state where we just basically help people come out of a prison, and we keep them there for 6 months to a year, whatever their parole is or probation is, and we get reimbursed, but it's mainly to have a bed for them, have a place for them to eat, and then we work with them on the other side, the therapeutical, the Christ-centered, obviously. So.
People who are leaving prison or jail, if they don't have a family support, what usually does happen to them, Gail?
They end up back on the street. I mean, they have to have someone to go to, and this is a critical part of what we have to offer at Steelbridge Ministries through the therapeutical side. Because, if you come into the program, we have a 12-month residential program for this therapy to help people. We get them connected to Christ. We give them the therapeutics we need. They come on, they're fed, they're housed, they're clothed, free. Everything is offered to them free of charge. This is to get them connected to the Lord and get them to find their God purpose in life and to fulfill that mission. And so you have to renew their minds. And the only thing that's going to help them is really the Word of God. It's the Word of God that changes people. So this is where we focus.
To find their purpose, that's the key. I think a key to life is to find your purpose in His.
It is, and the thing about the Christ-centered approach also is most places will look at them as a number. They have a structure. This is how you help someone. You can't. Each person's different. When they hit like about 6 months, some aren't ready to go out there. Some aren't ready to be around their families. Some are ready to go to school. Some want to do this. You got to be flexible to be able to work with each one, and that's what Christ gives us. He gives us that grace to be able to work with people. We don't have to be black and white in everything we do when we help a person.
Are there other organizations, Shane, within Albuquerque that help people leaving prison or jail?
Oh yeah. I mean, there's other organizations. I mean, we're the therapeutical rehabilitational side, but you have a lot of halfway houses, 3/4 houses. There's different levels. So for ours is a spiritual program. For 61% of people who are Christians, they need a spiritual program. So we offer that for them when they come out, so they're comfortable and they understand. So.
And job training as well?
Yes.
It is.
It's got to be a key. Yes. Once they find their passion, what kind of job training do you offer?
So because Albuquerque, so I'm from Phoenix, Arizona, and Albuquerque is a lot smaller. So I actually personally go out there and meet with all the businesses, and we work with them, and they're able to be flexible with our scheduling. And so we get them good environments to work around, good people to work, and good careers. I don't believe a 42-year-old man needs to be doing French fries when he could work at the plumbers union, or he could get a trade, or go to college and become a truck driver or something to that degree. So
Some of that education is costly. How do they pay for that, Gail?
So,
Good question. Shane has the answer for that.
So some are run off scholarships. You can get there are scholarships out there that we can get. There are some programs, or what we do is we have some of our residents that will work part-time jobs to be able to pay while they're in the school. And so we help them budget that money from the beginning. First and foremost, when they get that paycheck, 10% obviously is going to be tithed. And then we say, what are your bills? What do we need to do? And we help each one on an individual basis so that they can achieve that goal.
Is that the New Life program?
Correct.
And that's a 12-month program?
Correct.
And then we also have the Joe Nicholson Women's Center of Hope. Tell me a little bit about that.
So the women's is kind of run like the men's program. It's still a 12-month program, but we've had to cater because when I came here 2 years ago, noticed that human trafficking was huge. I became a member of the state task force for human trafficking. There's a few agencies we work with, but human trafficking and sex trafficking is a huge thing in the little cities and in Albuquerque itself. And people don't see it.
Right.
And
so we hear about it in the news. Give me an example. What is the human trafficking?
Well, I mean, it could be anything from, because we're on the
that you've worked with at Steelbridge. Yeah.
So we've had clients from other states, from little towns. I won't give the towns, but a lot of it is familial trafficking, where they've been trafficked generation after generation after generation in these small towns, like truck stops. We've had girls come to us who have been dealt with, unfortunately, situations that were out of country, out of state, where they were just caught up. They met a guy at a party one day, what you call a Romeo pimp. And what he does ends up selling the girl when she falls in love with him, and he breaks the emotional ties she has with her family. And then he sells her to what you call a guerrilla pimp, and those are the ones that force them to do drugs. My last job, I worked with 11 to 17-year-olds who are victims of sex trafficking. So I've had 3 years of just hands-on experience with both law enforcement and the recovery side also.
So there is an organized unit of the sex trafficking. This is sex trafficking.
Correct.
Trafficking. What about just human trafficking? Are they maids, cleaning people, working at massage parlors?
I'm not too familiar with the labor trafficking side. I'm more focused on the sex trafficking side. But there is a lot of labor trafficking going on, yes. I mean, it is huge out here, especially, what I'm told, because like I said, I've only been here a couple of years, so I haven't had the in-depth research that I needed, but I hear there's a lot of, labor trafficking going on out here.
Give me a case how you've helped someone in the sex trafficking so far.
We had a young lady come to us under the age of 21. She was pregnant from her own family member. And she was familially trafficked at the truck stops in a small town in New Mexico. We were able to get her to another state where she just had her baby 3 months ago. She was able to get her life together. She's starting to get a job. She's starting to deal with the trauma. So,
in another organization like Steelbridge.
Correct. We have many partner organizations all over the nation that we will use, that we will either bring in from other states or we will send out to other states, because you can't be in your own backyard, especially with human trafficking, especially sex trafficking, if like Albuquerque's too small. I mean, you try and take a person in and they're from here, it's only a matter of time till they're pimped. Because the price, about 5 years ago, it was about $180,000 per person that a person made from a trafficking victim in their stable.
Wait a second, what? $180,000?
A year, yes. A pimp would make per person in the stable. Now the number's probably gone up.
In the stable, in their.
They call it stable, which is their group of women in their human trafficking group. And
the pimp could earn $180,000.
And that's on the low end, okay? I mean, that's maybe $50 a day or $100 a day or whatever it is. But I mean, you got to think some of these women, I mean, if they don't make $1,000 by like midnight, and that's maybe 20 to 30 Johns that they sleep with, then they keep them on the street for the rest of the night. They don't give them, or they shoot them back up with drugs. A lot of these sex trafficking victims, they're in a room where they just shoot them up with drugs, and then when it's time to go, they're so out there that they don't know what they're doing, and they just send them out there to make money.
How do they find you? How do they find Steelbridge Ministries?
So we're all over the place. You know, we're word of mouth. We do a lot of outreaching on Wednesdays where we actually walk around downtown. And so people can see us. They get our cards. They have our information. Because with trafficking, they can't just say, hey, take me off the street. It has to be a process. So if we get a call saying they need help, then we'll work with partner agencies. There are some agencies out here that actually do the street outreach. And if we need help, we'll call them to see if they can rescue them. Or we'll even work with APD. And we'll say, hey, this neighborhood, you might want to be aware of this situation and this person. So it's just a collaborative effort. And you know, the more awareness that's out there and the more collaboration that we work with local law enforcement and government and local community partners, we're able to help more of these young ladies.
How many, do you have still a feeding program? You feed people, what, breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
Correct.
Daytime? And where is that located, Gail?
Well, our residents are fed breakfast, lunch,
Yes.
and dinner. And we have up to 100 residents at a time. We have, 76 on the men's side, 24 on the women's, so we have the ability to house 100 residents at a time. And of course, they're going through a one-year program, so it's a revolving door as some go out, some are coming in. But so they're fed, they're taken care of, and then we do, like he mentioned, being out there on the street and actually bringing food to people. We bring little sacks of food and water. We go out on the street and actually pray with people. We try to encourage them to come into the program if they're a fit. Not everybody is a fit. There are people out there with mental illness that are on serious medications. We're not a medical facility, so we can't take those people, but we can help love on them, pray for them, care for them, and make sure they're getting some food and some water. And we also direct them to a service that they would be fit for.
More,
Yes.
so you're really not a day program, just
Right.
There are other programs that offer
Right.
this, and I think we mentioned there are like 120
Yes.
different sites across
Yes.
the state of New Mexico that
Yes.
offer meals to
Yes,
folks. But
exactly.
you offer the program, which is a 12-month program.
That's correct.
Yeah, we felt it's pointless to try and do everything at once. There's so many great partners out there, community partners who are good at what they do. You know, I mean, there's day centers out there that's what. But back to the food. So we do about 300 meals a day for our residents alone. 300 meals a day, but we also give food to about 5 to 7 other organizations every week. And then we also do food boxes. We're going to average about 600 food boxes. So 600 families a month will get food boxes from us also. So we're really trying to hit all the different angles, not only our residential, but also the low income, the single mother with 3 jobs who can barely make ends meet.
Or the fixed income people.
Yes.
Where do you find them, Shane?
So where do
You find the people who need the meals?
A lot of it's word of mouth. We just tell our partner agencies, churches, hey, if you call up, hey, give them our number. This is like Mondays and Wednesdays from 11 to 1 at our 2021 2nd Street location. You could pick up. You could pick up food. You could pick up bread, vegetables. You could pick up rice, whatever it is you need. So it's more of it's like, once again, collaboration. Doing it all ourselves is just, we'll wear ourselves thin. But using those partners that are out there who are good at what they do, we're able to help more people and effectively and efficiently.
Yes. It's not just homeless. Diane, I think it's important for even the audience to know, because we hear of this so often. In churches, people in church, they have a young adult living at home that has a drug problem, that has an addiction problem. They don't want to kick them out. They're trying to take care of them. They can't take care of them. That person needs help. So you can call 346-HOPE. And that's our number, 346-HOPE. You can call us. If that person would like help, they can come down and we can interview them. They have to want the help. We understand that. But we highly encourage people, don't house a problem either. Don't house a problem.
But you're not really a drug rehabilitation center.
We are. We offer all the classes for drug rehabilitation, all the therapeutical life skills classes that we have, but we do it from the Christ-centered, faith-based angle. So we get to, and that's where the therapy comes in. If they have a drug problem, we figure out why are you doing on the drug problem. Is it codependency? Is it the drug itself? What can we do to help you get off of that? So we usually send them to detox. They go to detox, and then once they get out of detox, they're able to come to us, because you can't just come off the street on fentanyl and alcohol, because you're going to detox really bad. So we send them to mats where they go for about 10 days, and then we have a high success rate when they come straight out of detox because they want it. And the spiritual component, there's so much love when you deal with a Christ-centered organization as opposed to a secular organization, that they feel that, because we don't do this as a job. This isn't about the paycheck per se. It's more about the passion and the love for these people. It's about watching that one person graduate, get their family back, and just smile for the first time in their life they've accomplished something. And we could be part of that eternal journey with them.
We mentioned about 20% of the people came from prison or jail directly to your program. What percentage would you say have an addiction problem, which are trauma-based, and which are, what's the other one after drug addiction, trauma?
Alcohol.
Well, substance abuse.
Substance abuse.
Or homeless.
And people,
That's all
I mean, New
combined.
Mexico ranks #1 in
But-
alcohol addiction.
85%. 85 to 90% of the people that come in our program have an alcohol or a drug abuse program.
85%.
Correct, because it's not just, you can't just say this is the problem, because there's dual and triple diagnosis. They have mental health issues, they have drug abuse, they do the drugs to stop worrying about the mental health issues. They don't know what normal is once they get off the drugs. So yeah, about 85 to 90% easily, and maybe even a little bit higher, depends on what season it is.
What would you like to share about this, Gail?
Well, it's really interesting. It just really breaks my heart because you see this problem of homelessness continues. But not only that, they're projecting an increase of 48% in our state alone on homelessness. But a lot of it is related to hopelessness. You know, people are hopeless. They don't know what to do. They can't find a job. They can't find peace. So they go to drugs. They go to alcohol. It's so readily available in our state, which is really sad.
So just to piggyback off that, what people don't have to realize is there's 3 types of homeless out here. There's homeless, hopeless, and helpless.
Homeless?
Hopeless and helpless. And at any given point, someone could be one of those 3 categories. Your homeless are the ones who are chronic homeless. They choose to be homeless. They don't want to be told what to do. They know where the food's at. That's what they choose.
Yeah.
They want to use drugs. You have the hopeless. They don't know where the resources are. That's where we come in. We want to be those resources, help them, guide them, hold their hand. Then there's the helpless. Your human trafficking victims, your mental behavioral health, your guys who are so strung out on drugs and alcohol, they have no more control over their body or mind. And so when you know the 3 categories and you could help each one or collaborate with partners in each of the 3, you have a higher rate of success.
That's the goal.
What do you think is going on in society, Shane? You had mentioned, Gail, that 46% is going to increase?
48%.
And we see in our streets.
Yes.
I mean, they're coming out.
Yes.
I don't know. But why? What's going on?
Long term.
In society.
It's long-term supportive housing, permanent housing is what's needed, but with wraparound services built in. That's what's needed. And we just don't have that out here for both mental health, behavioral health, and substance abuse. You can give someone a housing voucher who's off the street and put them in a house, but if you don't have the support services to help them with the therapy they need, to get them off the drugs, to help them with the codependency, to help them just in general, just supporting them, then they're just going to fail again. And so it's having the right steps in place to help support them.
But why, what's going on in society? It's not Christ-based. I mean, why 85 to 90% of the people who might be in your facility have had an alcohol or drug addiction problem? Why are they turning to this?
A lot of them, honestly, COVID hit hard. A lot of our people, they lost their jobs, and so they ended up going to substances. A lot of them, their families lost their jobs, so they went to drugs. They sold drugs. They started crime because they didn't have the money, and so we're still seeing a lot of that, but we're also seeing them, they were never able to get back up. They could never get the support or never had the mental want.
And poverty
what do you mean the mental?
No, they gave up. They've given up. Poverty
is a big factor. Think about this. Rent, even in Albuquerque, has gone up 70%, yet the wages only went up 15%. I mean, we're already low income. 1 in 5 people in New Mexico are living in poverty. 1 in 5, that's huge. I mean, how do you make it?
And this is just anecdotal, because unless you have the statistics, but I've run it in my field of work and in my life, I'm feeling that more and more people are mentally ill in our society. I mean, of some sort.
It's coming more to the forefront now because I feel like it was just never in the limelight. Like we said, I mean, over the years as we've adapted as a facility, a soup kitchen was all it was about. So you go 20, 30 years like that, and these you don't address mental illness is at the forefront. It's everywhere. It's about mental state, but we still don't have the facilities or the funding to help that middle area. If you have really good insurance, yes, you might be able to find a long-term facility, but what about the 85% who are on Medicaid? There's no long-term facilities that are going to hold that.
And we used to have facilities. We used to have mental hospitals here in New Mexico.
Okay.
And we got rid of them.
Yes.
quite a few decades ago, but that's what we had, but now we don't.
Yes.
And so many of them are on the street. We just have a couple of minutes left, Gail. What would you like to share that I haven't touched upon, and then give Shane that opportunity?
I just want to say, Diane, this morning I was listening to Psalm 119. As I was listening to the Psalm, it just hit me one thing after the other about what the Word of God does for people. How it gives them direction, how it gives them hope, how it gives them peace, how it renews your mind. Just in one book of the Bible, one chapter, Psalm 119, I can list 20 to 25 things the Word of God fixes for people. And this is what we highly center on, helping people to be disciples of the Word of God and to get that inner healing they need so that they can think straight.
Great, thank you. Shane, what would you like to share to the families out there who might need you for their family members?
So we have an open door policy. Steelbridge, 505-346-HOPE. We're there to help anybody and everybody. We're not going to say we are the solution for everybody, but we will work with you and we will collaborate with our community partners to do everything in our power to help you. First, to show you the love of Christ, but number two, just to help you get back on your feet. I mean, the more and more we help each other, the more it reciprocates to our families, it reciprocates to our community, and in time, New Mexico will will flourish. The homeless population numbers will, but we can't do that unless we know there's a problem. So if you know someone with a problem, let's not hide from it. Call us up. Let us walk with you through it. Let us figure out what the problem is, and let's figure a solution out together.
Can you give me an antidote? We still have a minute left, Shane.
Yes, ma'am.
Of someone who's been successful in the program, what have they gone on to do?
We have a gentleman, 41 years old, came out of prison. We got him a job, so he didn't want to get a job. We got him a job at a local steakhouse, and now he's traveling the world opening steakhouses as a felon. And what's so unique is his mother's in a different country, and he has the opportunity to go see his mother as a felon in another country opening this steakhouse. And it all started with him wanting to come in the program because he wanted it.
And Gail, what have you seen?
I see the same thing. We have a girl currently, I'm going to talk about somebody who's currently in
30 seconds.
Okay, and she's there because she wants her son back. She wants to be a providing parent that can raise her son. And this is what she's working towards. So she's motivated.
What was her case? She came out of prison as well?
No, alcohol.
And why did she turn to alcohol?
Hopelessness. And she's got a relationship with Christ. She understands that her future is bright. So she's working towards that.
And she was in your 12-month program?
She's still in it. She's still in the program. She's working towards it, but she's so motivated because she's a different person. And that's the beauty of being there. You see these people, their attitudes change. You see light coming to their faces and to their eyes, and they have a new purpose. They get fixed on the right thing.
And what do you think she'll do once she gets out of your program?
We'll see what happens during the job training portion of it.
What is she interested in doing?
I don't know.
The world's open to her.
She's getting her GED. Let me say this. She's getting her GED. We do provide that service as well. So she's getting her GED so that she can be gainfully employed.
Excellent. And you have bright smiles on your face, both of you, for all that you're providing our community. Thank you so much for being a part of the program, Shane and Gail, and all you're doing in our community and sharing what the situation is and the solutions that you have at Steelbridge Ministries. Thank you so much for watching the program. I'm Diane Kinderwater. Make it a great week with your family. We'll see you next time. Thanks again. Bye-bye.
The New Mexico Modern Child Support Family Program works to benefit both parents for the purpose of improving children's lives. It provides the basics of child support, but goes further by helping parents step up to find better job opportunities that get them back on track to paying their monthly child support obligation. Find out how the Child Support Step Up program can help your modern family. Contact New Mexico Child Support today to learn more.
Issues and Answers with your host Diane Kinderwater is presented as a public service to inform, educate, and better the lives of New Mexicans. To comment on today's program or to purchase a copy of any Issues and Answers program, visit sunbroadcasting.org or call us at 505-345-1991.